For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. Hollywood has always been an elite club where all of its members must play by the rules. And if you don't play by those rules, you risk being blackballed and ostracized by that same community. Now, if you do play by those Hollywood rules, you're offered millions and possibly billions of dollars, but more than likely will be called a sellout and a victim of the Illuminati. Figures like Muhammad Ali, Dave Chappelle, and Mo'Nique are widely celebrated for giving the middle finger to the powers that be and have earned an army of fans who admire their integrity. Because here's the thing, being an outspoken black rebel comes with a lot of consequences, especially when you're in the public eye. And Eddie Murphy is no stranger to calling out the establishment, albeit in a covert manner. Most of Eddie's objections to whiteness comes in the form of his work, whether it's through representation of black-owned businesses in films like Harlem Nights and Boomerang, showing black royalty in Coming to America, and even employing other blacks behind the scenes in his filmography too. Murphy's most overt stance in calling out Hollywood came in 1988 when he was invited to the 60th Academy Awards to present the Oscar for Best Picture. The result of this may have stopped him from winning the award himself, as we all know show business hates a black man that can't keep in line. Here's why Eddie Murphy never won an Oscar. In 1988, Eddie Murphy took the stage on the Oscars to tell the audience he originally wasn't going to show up to present the award.
At first, when they came to me and they said they wanted me to present the award for Best Picture, my first reaction was to say, no, I ain't going. And I said, my manager said, but why? I have a white manager, so I said, I'm not going because they haven't recognized black people in the motion picture industry. What are you talking about? Black people won Oscars. Well, black actors and actresses that have won Oscars throughout 60 years was like, I think Hattie McDaniels won the first one, Sidney Poitier won one, and Lou Gossett won one. And I'll probably never win an Oscar for saying this, but hey, what the hey, I gotta say it.
Now, Hollywood doesn't like it when you call them out and will often punish you for it. Recently, Lil Rel will appear as a guest on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay podcast, where he revealed he was nearly blackballed from Hollywood after speaking out and coming to the defense of another woman on set. According to Rel, when he called out a Hollywood producer for being inappropriate on the set of a film, that producer began to tell other producers not to work with Rel, simply because he was calling out another producer for his behavior. If I get kicked out of Hollywood for not doing I didn't do anything. The producer did. So I'm about to get blacklisted because I said something to him? And Eddie's Oscar speech of calling out the lack of black Oscar winners wouldn't stop there. His speech would end on an Oscar prediction.
Actually, I might not be in any trouble because the way it's been going is about every 20 years we get one, so we ain't due for about 2004. So by that time, it's all blown over. I said I wasn't going, and my manager said, you just have to go, you can't snub the Academy. So I came down here to give the award. I just feel that we have to be recognized as people. I just want you to know I'm gonna give this award. Black people will not ride the caboose of society. I want you to recognize us. He said, well, fine, it's done. I said, no, when do I have to be there? He said, well, you don't have to get there till about 9 or 10 because it's the last award of the evening.
Now, Eddie Murphy is one of the most talented actors in film history. Unfortunately, the Oscars' tendency to overlook comedy is another reason why the award show will most likely never honor the comedian. Mo'Nique, Whoopi Goldberg, and Robin Williams are a few comedians who won Oscars for acting, and all had to switch to drama in order to do it. Murphy was destined to become the next comedian on that list with 2006 Dreamgirls. That award season, Murphy had won the Golden Globe and Screen Actors Guild Award for playing Jimmy Thunder early, and many predicted he would take home the Oscar too. Murphy, as an aging old-school R&B singer who falls victim to a drug addiction, once he enters the twilight of his career, was a performance critics would praise, as it took viewers on an emotional roller coaster ride. Predictors figured Murphy was miles ahead of his competition in the Best Supporting Actor category, which included Alan Arkin, Jackie Earle Haley, Daijun Hanzu, and Mark Wahlberg. By mid-January 2007, Eddie was set as the clear expected winner. That all changed as soon as Eddie's next movie was announced. That month, fans would see Eddie accept award after award for Dreamgirls, then watch commercials for Norbit. It's an understatement to say that Hollywood was confused by the complete change of direction for the actor. They considered James Early as a refreshing shift from the 2000s comedian that Eddie was involved in at the time, and to them, Norbit was a representation of what they had grown tired of. After seeing promotion for Norbit, Laramie Legal from MTV News stated, Eddie Murphy should lose the Oscar for doing Norbit, in the same manner that a substance abuser should put back in rehab for lapsing at their welcome back party. It's a raw deal for Eddie because he was tremendous in Dreamgirls, but if losing the Oscar gets us out of another decade of bad choices by him, it's a price we should be willing to pay. Meanwhile, Joe Reed, the host of This Had Oscar Buzz podcast, said, what happened with Norbit was that it directly contradicted the narrative that had become central to the Eddie Murphy Oscar campaign, namely that Eddie Murphy was back. He'd returned from the wilderness of so many bad movies and bombs, and now he was back to using all that charisma and talent towards something excellent. The Norbit please took some air out of that balloon. Critics panned Norbit upon release, with some even calling it the worst movie of the year. The racial stereotypes, fat shaming, toilet humor, and unlikable characters were the main offenses reviewers cited with the movie. On Oscars night 2007, Alan Arkin took home the award for Best Supporting Actor over Murphy. And TMZ will release an article reporting that Murphy left the award show immediately after his category, labeling him as a sore loser. The New York Post reported that Murphy didn't want to be the subject of people feeling bad for him after the upset. If Murphy had won that night, a new record of Black Oscar winners would have been set. As Forest Whitaker and Jennifer Hudson were the other winners that evening. Critic Joe Reed would continue, obviously the critics weren't fond of Norbit, but I think what hurt Murphy more than the reviews were the then inescapable ads and the silly sounding name. The Academy likes to see comedians get serious, and just when he pulled that off in Dreamgirls, to the tune of his first Oscar nomination, all those bad taste Norbit commercials made then view Murphy as a dramatic dilettante. It's no secret that Eddie Murphy had one of the hottest starts to a career in show business history. After carrying Saturday Night Live for 5 seasons and saving the show from cancellation, the comedian left the show to become a movie star. Between 1983 and 1985, Eddie was nominated for a Golden Globe for his first 3 films, an unheard accomplishment in Hollywood. In 1983, he was nominated for the New Star of the Year award for his film debut, 48 Hours. And in 1984 and 85, he was nominated for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy for Trading Places and Beverly Hills Cop. It was evident he's always been appreciated by the industry. Of course, Eddie's 1988 speech was intended to make folks laugh, but as they say, every joke contains a grain of truth. Luckily, it wouldn't take 20 years for another Black actor to win the award. Just 2 years after Eddie's speech in 1990, Denzel Washington would take home his first Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for his role as Private Silas Tripp in Glory. The following year, Whoopi Goldberg would win an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress as Oday Mae Brown in Ghost. In 1997, Cuba Gooding Jr.'s role as Rod Tidal in Jerry Maguire would earn him a Best Supporting Actor Oscar. 2002 was a historic year in Oscar history. The year would produce 2 Black acting Oscar winners for the first time in history, with Denzel Washington for Training Day and Halle Berry for Monsters Ball. But when Eddie predicted an Oscar winner in 2004, he wouldn't be too far off. 2004 was a great year for Black film. Ray, Hotel Rwanda, Collateral, and $1 Million Baby all competed for Academy Awards. Don Cheadle, Sophie Okonedo, and Jamie Foxx and Morgan Freeman were nominated that year, with Foxx and Freeman winning. For his performance in Collateral and Ray, Foxx would join a very short list of actors who were nominated for 2 different movies in a single year, winning for the latter. Chris Rock hosted the ceremony that would celebrate 2004 in film and quickly made note of the night's rare occasion, with 4 Black nominees.
All right, welcome to the 77th and last Academy Awards. Great night tonight. We have 4 Black nominees tonight. It's kind of like the Deaf Oscar Jam tonight.
Cal Buchanan of the New York Times said, whether or not Murphy should have won the Oscar for Dreamgirls, it's wild that it remains his only nomination. He should have been in the mix for The Nutty Professor, Dolomite, hell, even Bowfinger. But Oscar voters have never sparked to the act of comic transformation like you'd hope. In the end, Eddie Murphy will end up winning an Oscar, although it will be an honorary award for their entire bodies of work, much like his comedic peer, Steve Martin, took home back in 2014. Murphy's cultural contemporaries, Spike Lee, Samuel Jackson, and Angela Bassett, won an honorary Oscars in 2016, 2022, and 2024. And it should be noted that an artist's want for an industry award shouldn't represent any kind of outside validation. It should only represent evolution into the next phase of their career, as those that have finally won the award have already won the hearts of their fans, followers, and admirers decades prior. Stay up to date with the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to our YouTube channel. Check out Hype Market for all your cool and original merchandise. And for our YouTube viewers, if you like this story, send us a super thanks by hitting the button below, and you can tip us what you want to show your support. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.